Welcome to another episode of How'd I Get Here podcast, the podcast for positivity, progression, to help you find your own path. It's your co-host Jake, Mr. Brown, Broken Ugly, living the dream.
Gang. It's your boy Spence, wealth strategist, king Aquarius, lover of life, all that, and a bag of chips. And
I like how I just did that.
My name is Sharon.
What else?
I'm amazing. I'm bubbly. I'm
Talk your shit. Amazing, bubbly. What else?
Baker, she said.
I'm a baker. I'm a mom.
Oh.
I'm a cool mom, not a regular mom.
Are you sure you're a cool mom?
Do your kids say the same
My
thing?
kids
That
love
part.
me. My kids always say I'm a cool mom.
Dope.
To their friends?
Their friends say I'm a cool mom.
That's dope.
Word.
dope.
How's everybody doing?
It's good. I'm a little tired, long day. Making it happen.
It's good.
How are you doing? Got your hair did.
Bro, last week I was looking real batchy.
Wow,
Yes.
what a throwback. Yo, I haven't heard it. When's the last time you heard someone say batchy?
It's been a while.
I don't even know why that's how bad I was looking.
Yo,
it
that
just
was
came
authentic.
to mind. You know what I was thinking about today? I remember when on MySpace, when like someone had a picture and you were the first one to like it, and you was
own
like,
that ish.
"Ooh, I own it," and then you had to put like Spencer owns my pic. I don't know why I thought about that today.
My portfolio was crazy.
Do
Sorry.
you have a question for us? 'Cause
I do. All right, so if you have a family and you could instill one thing into your kids that they bring with them for the rest of their life, what would it be?
If I had a family and I could instill one thing in them, one thing.
One thing.
All right, this is gonna sound extremely vague, but for me it would be good character,
Ooh.
because I feel like good character goes a long way, and like that just shows through like your actions, through your train of thought, through your way of life, just like all types of good things. So I feel like good character, and that's something that you can't change or take away from anybody. So for me, it would be good character.
I have to second that.
Nah, don't piggyback that. I'm joking.
But she actually has a
one
family.
of the things,
So.
so I have two kids, and my kids, one thing I'm very vocal with them about is manners, being extremely polite, just being good people. My daughter likes to give back, so we do we'll fundraise for her school, or we'll collect all her old clothes and bring it to one of those dumpsters, and she loves doing it because she knows that there's going to be a kid that's going to get her clothes that no longer fits her, rather than her just throwing it out in the trash. And so just things like that. My kids are pretty good kids. They're givers, they're lovers.
That's dope.
And so that
I was gonna say unconditional love of like people, but I guess that's good character as well. Like that falls under that umbrella.
But that's yes.
being
but,
caring, being
but
loving.
that's different.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it could fall under, but I feel like that's like more elaborate. You know what I mean? Cause like, bro, I mean, you're a mother. You unconditionally love your kids, but I feel like until it's really pointed out to you and taught what unconditional love is, you really don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I know that my parents loved me unconditionally, but it wasn't until 24 and I had a girlfriend that I really learned.
like real love.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm like.
You become a giver.
Right. Like, that's why I say, like, that's actually a good one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I want them to unconditionally love people. I want them to receive unconditional love and then give unconditional love to the world. I feel like that's what the world needs.
The world needs a lot.
A lot of love.
Hug your people.
Hug everybody. Everybody listening to this, go give somebody a hug.
Oh, that's another question. So part 2 question. Do you think, would you go as far as to say as everyone, not all the time, but everyone loves to get a hug?
On TikTok, there's a guy, I don't remember his name on
the
TikTok.
blindfold?
Yes, that he just goes around holding a sign that asks, if you need a hug, and he'll give you, blindly. He doesn't want to know what you look like before he hugs you. He doesn't want to judge you right off the back. he literally just holds a sign, and people actually do go up to him, hug
Yeah.
him. They even start crying.
And
I think that's a beautiful thing.
The sign says like, I don't know what you're going through, but if you need a hug,
Yeah,
some like.
it's very.
I think that everybody likes to be hugged by the right person.
Yeah.
Because there's
consent is critical.
Well, yes, but like, you know how people, oh, I'm not a hugger, or like, I don't like, but you give great hugs. I like hugging you. It's like you're hugging the right person or being hugged by somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like that meme that goes around social media. It's like when the wrong person applies pressure, it really feels like sexual harassment.
that part.
Me, I've been through that.
Oh, man.
That's tough. That's gotta be tough on that end, because I know women like when you apply pressure, right?
Yeah.
So that
but
guy
by the right man. Yeah. I've had my fair share of people that I'm just like, they'll compliment and you say thank you because you don't want to be rude, you don't want to come off stuck up, and then they'll continue, and it's like, if I wanted to continue, I would have said a little more than thank you.
But people don't know how to pick up on messages. Like subliminals or energy, like bruh, can't you tell the conversation ain't really
there?
I
try to cut off eye contact. If I'm out publicly, I'll try to cut off eye contact, or I'll kind of like, hey girl, try to.
that awkward moment, he's just still standing there like, you gonna talk to me again? No?
No, it's a hard pass.
Yeah, nah. So let's talk about something you said earlier with the first question about like teaching unconditional love, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that is a perfect segue. I think I say this every week, but I love how your question always segues into the topic. And the fact that you didn't even know the question is proof that I don't lie when I say that. Sorry, I just get excited. But yeah, so I think it would be, well, it is important and great to have a topic just about like body image, body shaming, weight loss, things of that nature. So that's how we got here today. But in terms of like body, I mean, like you said, unconditional love, let's segue into like loving yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I think that's like a
huge
important place to start. You know what I mean? Like, because there's obviously other avenues of like people bullying and pointing it out and yada, 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 all that stuff, which we'll dive into. But how much of like body, I guess, imaging, and we'll start with that, is about loving yourself and things like that?
Okay. So I always struggled since I was young with my weight. I remember at some point I was a size 00. And then I remember when I just out of nowhere skyrocketed to a size 11. So I remember that I had...
Not to cut you off.
Yep.
Because I just don't know what a 00 is.
Yeah, I know, it's
like, when you said that, I was like, I don't know if it's
like,
big or small.
Is that small?
They have, well, back then when I was smaller, I remember being a size 00. It was literally... The tag said 00 on it. I was really skinny.
Tiny.
It's tiny.
It's very tiny. And I was 9, I believe, around that time. So I remember when I did gain weight, I used to always say like, oh, I'm a BBW, like, can't no one tell me nothing, because I always used to dress myself up. I never, like, some girls, unfortunately, they don't have the body, or they don't feel comfortable in their own body, so they don't dress up. I never allowed myself not to dress up.
You always had that confidence.
Always. I never allowed myself to, like, downplay myself because of my weight.
So then where does that...
I feel that.
Where does that
unconfidence,
disconfidence?
It took a turn. In high school I played sports, so I was always...
What'd you play?
I played volleyball and softball.
Ooh.
So I was always able to keep my weight down.
Right.
At a minimum. I was always nice
you
and
were
thick.
Fit. Right.
But then, fast forward, you get in a relationship, you fall in love, you have kids. So, after I had my son, I like put on so much weight during the pregnancy. But then after the pregnancy, I kept eating like I was pregnant. And I told my doctor, like, something's not right. Like, why am I still eating like I'm pregnant?
These cravings didn't go away.
So eventually I started suffering from postpartum, and that weighed into me not feeling comfortable in my own skin. And so, therefore I took the measures that I had to get myself back.
Right. So before we dive into that, let's talk about like not being comfortable in your own skin. Cause like,
it's horrible.
Cause I'll even like me, right? And people be like, I tell people all the time, beginning of COVID, so what was that, 2 years ago?
Yep.
I was like going through shit, drinking like everybody else, right? Gained weight, get fit, right? And then like this year, went to Mexico, like I was telling you, got almost back to 200. And people were like, yo, Jake, you're fit, you look good. But like to me,
Body dysmorphia.
that's did you just diagnose me?
It's body dysmorphia.
What you mean?
You can literally look at yourself. So everyone else sees what you don't see. For instance, I've lost all this weight, but in my mind, I still feel like this plus size girl. I look at other girls and I'm like, I'm not as small as them.
Okay, wait. First, define body dysmorphia and then go back to that thought.
I mean, it's basically for instance, so like I lost weight.
Right.
And I still feel like I'm
So are you saying it's a mental thing?
It is definitely mental. It's all mental.
But the scale don't lie. Like
the scale doesn't matter. The one thing I learned about weight loss is you don't look at the scale. You look at your body. Look at how you feel. It's a mental thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I actually read up on this beforehand because I was told you're very knowledgeable on this. Jacob spoke very highly of you. So yeah, no, that's spot on. Based on what I read, it is 100% mental, and like people who have OCD, like a hyper attention to detail, you got to think they're looking at themselves and like even the smaller. So like, remember white chicks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is help me to laugh. Yeah, like that would be a version of body dysmorphia. When you look at her, it's like you're tiny, like you're pulling skin.
Yep.
But
I love that.
So like for me, right? And I think acceptance goes a long way with this, right?
Yep.
You look at someone like me who was a professional athlete and was always fit, and like now I'm still fit, right? Just not as fit.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And people tell me now, like, yo, Jake, you're getting older, you're not working out the same way, this, that, the third. So for me, it's accepting more so of that.
People tell you that?
Bro, I used to work out 2-3 times a day.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
because you still go hard.
Yeah, but that's in.
Well, the sucky part about struggling with weight is having others in your ear.
Word.
So, for instance, I always said when I did start to lose weight and people were like, oh my God, you're getting so skinny on us now. And I'm like, well, what about when I was gaining weight? Why weren't you telling me, hey, like as your friend, try to kind of slow it down. Like, I love you. I don't want you to, be offended. But so it's crazy how people can't tell you, hey, as your friend, health reasons.
Right.
But when you do get too small or you slack off or something, they're so quick to like point it out.
So on that, right? I've even spoken on it before, like my brother's overweight, right? Yeah. And one of my biggest things is like, how do you one help someone who doesn't want, because like you've ultimately got to make the decision for yourself.
Yep.
Right? You know what I mean? But how, as someone on the outside who cares, how do you say something, one, without offending or say the right thing? Or do you not say nothing at all?
Tough love. Sometimes you have to offend someone.
Sometimes you just have to paint a vivid picture. So he's mid-30s, you're young, you haven't even started having kids yet. Your sister has 2 kids. Does he love the family?
But see, that's the thing. I've even told him,
you have to talk to them about also health reasons.
Right.
So, my dad has diabetes. I didn't want diabetes.
Right.
There's certain things you gotta factor into everything. Sometimes you have to show someone tough love and you have to tell them something they don't want to hear.
Word.
If you really want them to get the help that they need.
No, and that's, I think, is one of those things like loving, like you said, tough love, and almost not settling. You know what I mean? Because I would hate at 29. I think my brother's 34. So now to see anything happen and be like, oh, I told you so.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it's
I
not
guess,
even like a I told you so moment. Like, no one wants to.
Yeah.
no, right. I'm not like, nigga, I told you. Like,
No, I feel that.
yeah, no, that's I don't know, that's just popped in my head. So with, body dysmorphia and things like that, what motivates / stresses you? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you could be like, oh, having this weight has motivated me to lose it, or it could also stress me out, and then you could tip the other way. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I've had my moments where, like, I'll catch myself slipping, and then I'm just like, nope, I gotta get right back to it. It's all mental. So it's like, how mentally strong are you
Right.
to keep going and not fall back?
It's also a comfort thing. So I know, like, shout out my boy 12. Like, I'm big now. Like, I'm bigger than I was last year, but I'm still smaller than I have been in my peak.
Yep.
But I was always comfortable in my skin. Like, I was always athletic. I was always chilling outside. Like, I was cute regardless. So to me, I'm just a big nigga, but like, I've always accepted that and like loved that about me, because I see the opposite. Like, I could name a bunch of things about like smaller guys that I just don't have those traits or those characteristics.
Let me tell you something. A lot of people feel that being skinny or being smaller, that you're healthier.
Nah.
No. I used to listen in high school. My softball coach had a rule. You had to beat her to the park where we practiced and played.
I'd have clipped her.
No, she was riding around in her car. She would go around laps, and we would have to get to. So Prince Tech is right on Flatbush, and
Yeah.
Zion,
Yeah.
our park is right there. So it's literally
safe
all
to be
uphill. I used to love it, but the thing was that she would do a few laps around with her car, but we had to be at the field before her. And I used to always say to myself, I was always one of the bigger girls. So I used to start jogging, and then I used to tell myself, like, I'm not letting this little petite girl. I wouldn't say that. I'd say something else. But
You can speak your truth.
I'd say I'm not letting this skinny bitch beat me. I'm gonna get to the park before her, because if we have to run extra laps, they're not gonna look at me like, oh, the big girl didn't make it to the park,
Right.
and
That's a
now we
fact.
gotta run because extra laps because of her. So I made it my business to be up at the field before all the other skinny girls.
See, but that's a pride. That's a pride and confidence.
Oh, but they would be out of breath. They would
But
be like,
I also think that's conscious because, like I said, being a big nigga growing up, you always the one looked at like, yo, bro, like, we got to run extra because you like, nah, I beat y'all.
Y'all not doing
this
What
shit
you
'cause of
mean?
me.
Yeah, so like, all y'all skinny ones, like, get it together. I never understood how someone who's like skinny, like, why y'all can't just run and do things forever. Because like in my head,
people can't. Some people can't.
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I know I can outrun a few of my smaller friends. Just because they're smaller doesn't mean that athletically they're there.
Listen,
or
in June, I would have put money that I could dust Jacob in a race,
Yeah,
but
bro.
you gotta give me another year.
Bro, you'll never beat me in a race.
Don't say
We
never.
went back and forth. We went back and forth for this for like 3 months.
oh my God.
And then I put on too much weight, and like I haven't been to the same gym that we go to, so it's an unfair advantage. But like, if I get back,
He'll never beat me.
I'm gonna get back and I'm gonna dust you.
Focus, bro. Focus.
It's
So
the short legs. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. What are some because you basically diagnosed me 15 minutes ago. Now I'm all self-conscious and shit. Now I think I gotta go.
It's a real thing. Body dysmorphia is real.
So what are like some symptoms, or what are things to look for when you think like, oh shit, I might have this?
I mean, if you're thinking negatively about your body, that's definitely one. I have my moments where I feel like, I don't know, like I'll look at, like if I feel bloated in the morning, I'm like, ugh, like,
Right.
I'm constantly critiquing my body. Constant.
That's
It's an everyday
interesting.
thing. I look at myself, I'm gonna be honest. I look at myself naked every single morning. I nitpick at every little part and I'll say, all right, this is what we're gonna continue to work on because we're not happy with how this looks.
Right.
And when I go see my trainer, I let my trainer know, listen, this, I've been saying it. I don't know if you've watched my stories where I'm like, flat tummy. I'm aiming for the flat tummy. And I'm trying to do it non-surgically. I'm really trying to just continue to stick to what I'm doing, which is working out, eating healthy, because I don't want to be under the knife. I just don't want to do it. So one of my main goals is I want a flatter stomach. So I'll go and can we work,
Right.
And this is what I want to do.
So before you go, I also want to say none of us are actually certified doctors here. I don't want nobody being like, oh, the How'd I Get Here podcast said I have body we did not say anybody has body dysmorphia. If this conversation is to raise awareness and make you think, and if you do,
feel it,
then take the necessary steps. But that's why we have these conversations to raise awareness and just make people think about things they don't even think about.
Primarily, speaking to a therapist is really good. A lot of people don't seek therapy, and they should, if they're nitpicking at their body and they're not happy with how they look. Because there are people who then turn to, they'll starve themselves or whatever. And everyone rather not go that route. So if you feel that you're not happy with something, definitely see your doctor, see a therapist as well, because again, everything with the body is mental.
So, and it seems like you've not diagnosed yourself, but you've taken all the necessary steps to understand what's happening, what you want to work on, and now you're actively working on it, right? So that's that's an interesting line to teeter on, where if you know you're unhealthy, but you also feel some type about your body, where does body dysmorphia come in there? Because it's I know I'm bigger. I know I'd be healthier if I lost more weight. Is it bad to nitpick? Am I holding myself to too high of a standard, or should I just be, or something actually wrong? Yeah.
Well, I believe that I personally have body dysmorphia. I've especially more now than before. I've never been unhappy with my body up until recently. At my smallest, I was 190, and even then I wasn't happy. I was like, okay, now you're a stick figure.
Is 00s 190?
No.
I'm trying to...
double zero is 90.
No, I'm sorry. Were you 190 when you were 00?
No. 00 would be 90 pounds.
No, I was a size, I think 12 when I was 190.
How
I'm
old were you,
5'8". This was literally recently.
You're 5'8"?
I'm 5'8". Yeah.
I was like, hold on.
So this was right before COVID. I went to Puerto Rico. I was in a 2-piece bathing suit for the first time in my adult life, and I felt great. I felt great because I was in a 2-piece, but then after looking at photos, I was like, ew, look at this. These are things I want to fix.
Right.
I lost all this weight, but I'm still not happy. That's where body dysmorphia comes into play, because I'm still not happy.
But is it okay to not be happy because you still have more work to do?
I don't think it's okay to not be happy. I think it's for the mental, if I'm trying to reach a certain goal, I want to be happy with how I look. I think now, looking now, there are days where I have my days where I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
Especially on the weekends when I get dressed up and I go out. But then I have my moments, sometimes I'll wake up and I'll feel bloated, or I'll feel just blah, where I'm just I shouldn't feel like this. I've come so far, and I'm still working on my body, and I'm still trying to reach my goals. And I do work out. I drink a ton of water. I eat healthy. Why do I still nitpick?
Go ahead.
Coming from a competitive sense, because me, I know I mean, I've said this time and time again, like I want to accomplish a lot. So I'm very hard on myself when it comes to certain things. So I guess I'm wondering what the balance is of being hard on yourself, holding yourself accountable, but doing it too much to like the body.
I do it every single day. I nitpick on my body.
But are you actively working on your body every single day as well?
I see a trainer 3 times a week.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could see him more, I would, but.
I guess relating it back to softball, it's like if you're in the batting cages, right? Ideal hitter in major leagues bats 300, right? Like that's a great hitter. So you being in the batting cages, you're not performing the way you want to perform. You're gonna be upset with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So then, what do you do to work on that?
I work harder.
Exactly, right? So that, and again, I'm just trying to conceptualize this. Is it okay to just acknowledge, like, is it body dysmorphia? Is it you, not you?
Being hard on myself.
Being hard on yourself, but holding yourself accountable, like, nah, like, I'm better than this. I could do better than this. But, like...
so you're kind of trying to differentiate the two. As
yeah.
opposed to, like, when do you cross that line of...
Because that threshold seems like it's tough. Like, you could tiptoe on that forever.
I mean, you could. But I think that I'm probably extremely hard on myself because I have a goal of what I want my body to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So do goals...
I don't think I'm going to be happy till I reach it.
So
I respect that.
In that sense, are goals... What's the word I'm looking for? Could goals be problematic? Like, could the goals be toxic almost?
I mean, and I feel like in a sense they could be. But then there's also... I mean, when you reach it, it's an amazing feeling.
Right.
So I don't think it's... I think it turns toxic when you don't reach it and then you're super upset with yourself because you didn't reach that goal you really wanted to...
And I always, again, I always relate it back because I always think back, like if I didn't hit a goal, I always reflect, did I do everything in my power to achieve that goal? And if I did, I can be happy with myself. Like, all right, maybe the timeline I gave myself was unrealistic. But if I didn't, and it's like, all right, back to the drawing board, like hold yourself more accountable. Again, I'm not talking about you, just in general. So yeah, I don't know, that's tough. Man, remember when we first started and we used to just have to use a phone as a camera, set it up, run back around, get in place, and just hope for the best?
Yeah, bro. Now we got some quality and reliability behind the camera. Matter of fact, we live in Lavish.
Lavish Life Films, the official videographer of the How'd I Get Here podcast.
Book them for all your videographer and editing needs. So I got a question.
Yes.
Did I do that right?
Perfect.
Okay.
Creepy at all.
Does having more representation of plus size models in fashion and commercials and like how all that is now coming about help erase body dysmorphia?
I feel like I still follow like plus size models, and one thing that I was discussing was like Tess Holliday. She's a plus size model and she's very advocate for plus size women, and she'll go as far as like posting herself naked, completely naked on social media.
Talk about Lizzo?
No, not Lizzo. Tess Holliday. Lizzo, I love Lizzo.
Do you?
I love Lizzo.
We gotta have a sidebar after you answer this question.
So, she goes about like, she'll post herself naked, but then the second someone is like really vulgar and mean on social media, she is on social media crying about how mean someone was to her. And then I'm pretty sure it also, makes her question like about her weight. No one's ever really happy. You can say, I feel like some people will say that they're happy in their weight so that they can, I think it's them trying to find self-acceptance. I feel like the more they feel that they say it, the more they'll start to believe it.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around, because I agree, right? It's like you got to love yourself, put it out there, like really be confident in your skin. And again, like people have their days, right? No matter how bad you are, big you are, skinny you are, fit you are, whatever.
Have our days.
You all have your days. And that's okay, right? But like part of it is, why put yourself out there if you are not yet ready to handle what's going to come with it? Because people are going to talk, Yeah, and I get it. Like, you're showing strength.
Because there are people out there that can't do what she's doing, and so she's doing it for them. She's trying to be a voice for them.
She's being a voice. Got you.
For instance, I have people. There's sometimes I don't want to post my before and after, but I do it, and the amount of DMs that I get of people telling me like, "You're such an inspiration."
Right.
Thank you for posting about this. Thank you for talking about this, because I didn't know that this can be done. Or who's your trainer? How can I get into seeing your trainer? They are doing it for the people that don't have a voice, or they're doing it for the people who are too scared. Mm-hmm. And so they feel like, if I put myself out there, even if I'm going to be ridiculed after, as embarrassing as it is, there's still people out there that are looking at me to be their voice.
And like I've said it before, like, there's strength in vulnerability. And I feel like, hey, you're also showing like, yo, I don't got my shit together. Yep. Like, I'm not perfect, and it's like, you don't have to be perfect. I just want you to take some steps to getting to be comfortable in your own skin.
Yep.
Type thing.
And I guess, and I just don't know enough about Lizzo, for example, right? Because she just be out here half naked.
I love her.
Half
naked and all.
Like, so I guess, does she live like a healthy lifestyle?
Well, there was
because like that's like, you could be comfortable in your own
healthy
skin
in one sense
and advocate. Like,
I mean, she cries on social media too about people
and like
coming for her, but then she has celebrities that have her back that will be like, "Listen, Lizzo,
who's the rapper that was
tapped that? The Game, was it The Game? I think it was The Game. Like, I tapped that,
Game different, but okay. So like, look at Monique, right? She used to be a bigger woman.
And she's getting it together now.
Exactly. She's getting it together now, right? So I think it's great to be an advocate for these people who feel uncomfortable in their skin, because everyone should feel comfortable and love themselves in their own skin.
Regardless of the size.
Exactly. I guess the part where it's like teetering on unhealthy is if, like, Lizzo be at games being half naked, and it's just like, but are you taking the steps to like improve your situation, or are you just saying, hey, I'm big and I'm proud, but I'm also unhealthy? And
but we don't know if she's unhealthy. Remember, we did talk earlier, and we did say there's skinny people who are unhealthier than big people.
That's a fact.
I mean, as long as her doctor's not telling, I'm pretty sure, as a celebrity, if her doctor says to her, "Listen, your weight, it's unhealthy, and this is what it's gonna turn to. These are what could happen. You can have diabetes or whatever. Mm-hmm. If you continue on this path." I'm pretty sure she would do whatever she had to do to get herself together. If you really think about it, she has the money to have plastic surgery and be skinny if she wanted to be.
Right.
But
she can go about it. She can go about it many ways, because she has the money.
At this point, she's like I don't want to say an icon or an image or a face.
I believe she wants to be an image for plus size women. I believe she wants to give those plus size women a voice that they don't have.
It's just interesting to me. So like, Jennifer Hudson was also a plus size woman, and whoever the powers that be spoke with her, they're like, yo, listen, you gotta cut down. So, and I totally understand there's a lot of skinny people who could be unhealthy, but could you, I guess it's hard for me to wrap my head around somebody being morbidly obese and being healthy.
So I was actually morbidly obese.
Honestly,
at least in the scale for America, when you look at the weight, when you look at the height, my BMI was pretty high, and so I wasn't happy with that, and so I took the necessary steps.
Yeah.
Some people don't, as long as they're not having any complications. Some people are happy in their body, and they want to continue to live the way they want to live.
And I think that's fine. It's the necessary steps. That's the part. Like, if you're going to advocate for people who are plus size, also advocate for it's cool being healthy, regardless of what that looks like.
And, and I think that's all subjective, right? Because like we've said, there could be skinny people who are less healthy and vice versa, yada, yada, yada. So what does a healthy, and let's say positive, because I like, in this sense, I don't like using the word healthy because it's almost like implying because you're big, you're unhealthy, right? So let's say, what does a positive body culture lifestyle look like then?
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Like, can we, and that, again, that's all subjective because it's going to look different for everybody. But what does like a positive, body culture or body image culture look like?
I think it looks like Rihanna's new models.
What are her new models? Did I miss that?
Yeah, you ain't see the nigga who look like me
Well,
in his boxers?
If you think about it, Victoria's Secret is now jumping on the bandwagon too, and they have plus size models.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I think it's called the Savage Fenty models. So like bigger plus size folk.
Yeah, they got their little rolls and everything. It's real. It's not.
I think that's probably what it looks like. But again, it's all. It like 12 says it best. It's just all about living and not dying. Right? Like I just want to live and not die. So I want to live a healthy life, take all the necessary steps to do that. So I don't know if of the 6-7 people in this room, I would argue that we're all healthy and we all look different, I know for a fact, like I could be healthier based on like where I was last year and where I am today. But I know I also like will do some people dirty.
I mean, with the weight thing. So like you said, we all look healthy. I've seen this lineup. I don't know if you guys ever seen it, but there's this lineup of they'll put a lineup of women. They're all the exact same weight, all different height, all different body. Like their weight
I know where you're going,
fluctuates differently, and they're all the same weight, but they don't look the same.
Right.
Oh, that's dope.
So I've seen that before on social media, and so it makes you wonder, like, how am I, 224 and she's 224, but she looks bigger than me.
That's literally what I was telling Jacob, because he was like, man, like I just put on all this weight again. But I'm like, bro, you're in the gym. You were in the gym before, like, obviously you got into your accident situation. You were in the gym consistently 5 days a week on top of playing soccer. Like, you're putting on muscle. Like, muscle weighs more than fat. And that, like, again,
that's why I say don't look at the scale. Because I stopped looking at the scale when I started to build muscle and I started to tighten and tone.
Right.
There's a girl from Get and Get Fit. She doesn't weigh herself anymore. She just has a
the BMI thing?
No, she has a tape measure. She was like, all right, because you know how you said you want to work
you
flat tummy.
Inches.
Yeah, so it's like, I'd rather lose inches than I don't care about weight.
Yep.
No, that's a fact. So you said earlier, like, okay, I noticed, and I don't even want to say I have a problem. I noticed something was wrong, right? And I took like the necessary steps. We've said that multiple times, right? What are those necessary steps? What comes after being like, okay, I have body dysmorphia. Okay, I don't like what I feel. Like, what did you do, and then what came of that and everything?
Okay, so I went and saw my doctor. I told my doctor I was very unhappy with my body and how I continued to eat as if I was still pregnant after I had my son. And so I asked, I had heard about gastric bypass through 2 of my aunts that had it prior. And so I always thought it was like a cosmetic thing. I didn't think that like I can go and get it done too.
For the people like me, could you explain what gastric bypass is?
So basically what they do is they cut your stomach. So you have your intestines and then there's your gut. And so basically they snip your gut. They leave it in your body. It's still in your body. But what they do is they reattach your intestines. And so basically you're like a newborn again. So you start with liquids.
Really?
You start with liquids. Then you do, your mushy foods just like a baby. You're like a brand new baby. And then you start your solids eventually. And so basically you are remaking your gut.
You must eat way less now.
I do eat way less.
Because there's nothing to store it.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing that a lot of people fail to realize. It's solely on you. You can overeat. You're going to feel sick.
Like right now? Or are you talking about after having
the surgery, you can regain the weight.
Oh.
And a lot of people downplay it. And so once your body starts to get used to your eating habits again, you can re-expand. Like, you know, you're creating a new stomach. So the same way your original stomach expanded and made more space for more food that, you know, helped you kind of gain the weight, is the same way it can, you know, re-expand and you can regain the weight.
Wow.
It is. So
Can you get it done more than once?
no, I don't believe so.
Ooh.
So what I tell people all the time is that, yeah, I might have had gastric bypass, but gastric bypass is a tool. It's not a way of life.
It's not a solution.
It's not a solution. It's a tool. It is still solely up to you to get to where you want to be. So for instance, at my smallest, I weighed 190. I lost a total of 121 pounds.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
But I wasn't happy.
Oh.
Happy because of what you saw, or
you like
happy
to be
because of
thick.
the number?
No, and no, I loved the number. I couldn't believe I weighed 190. I was
Right.
like, oh my God. I wasn't happy with my body still. I lost my butt. You know, I had all this loose skin, all this cellulite, and it's like, okay, now I'm skinny, but look at how my body looks. This is where the body dysmorphia comes into play, because now I'm picking at every little
Right.
bit. I have inner thigh fat. I don't want that. Like, so you like I said, it's a tool. You want your body to look a certain way, you have to actually work for it. You either have to work for it or you got to pay for it. I chose to work for it. I chose not to go under the knife. I chose to work out and eat healthy and do what I had to do to start getting my body the way I wanted to look.
See, and I fuck with that because, like, a lot of the times it's like, not that it's the easy way out, but it's like,
Well, we'll get, so people who don't comprehend it, because it's not easy. It's
Right.
not easy at all. I don't get to eat what everyone gets. You know, I would love to go out with my kids and have ice cream. Ice cream will make me sick. Like, it has too much, too high in sugar. So, you know, I can't have a bowl of cereal. So a lot of these things that I used to be able to eat, I can't eat. That's also all mental now.
That's a whole nother
'Cause
level
when
of
I look
discipline.
at it, it's like I can't even have it. I want it and I can't
And you're a
even have it.
baker.
I'm a baker. I can't even eat.
You don't eat your own goods?
I wish.
So hopefully this isn't an insensitive question. Like, what can you not eat now that you used to eat all the time?
Oh my God. So, like I said, ice cream was huge because I used to go to Dairy Queen and, you know, Baskin and Robbins. I used to go to all these places at night.
I'm talking
You
dirty.
know, you know when you want to watch your Netflix and chills, you want your, you know. So I can't
Cheesecake, brownie.
have that. So those are things. If I do, like I'll little
Like a
bit.
moderation.
Oh, it'll make me feel sick. It'll be
Even the
so
little
bad.
bit?
Even like, yeah. So I really have to. I mean, we're gonna be honest. You will get the runs. It'll
Daniel.
set
Just
you
go right
off.
through you.
It'll go right through you.
I was thinking
And
that
hate-
because-
that's one thing is to feel that sick. You don't know if you want to puke or, you know, and when it hits you, you're like, whoa. So those are things, once you experience them, you're like, yeah, nope, I'd rather not have the ice cream. You know, and you just put it down.
That's interesting. I just now want to know more about the function of the stomach, because obviously
it's crazy.
it said that it was cut out, so you connected the two intestines. Like
Yes.
you connected the intestines, so it's just a straight funnel.
So I know a lot about the gut system because I had a daughter born with gastroschisis. And my daughter, so
English?
gastroschisis. So gastroschisis is when you're expecting, I think it's at 13 weeks, the belly of the baby is supposed to form completely. And only there's a hole, which is the belly button, and the umbilical cord is supposed to stick out through there. In my daughter's case, a little hole on the side of the belly button stayed open. It didn't close all the way. So with the pressure, her intestines prolapsed out. So my daughter was born with her intestines out. Due to that, they eventually, after a few surgeries, they had to remove intestines. So my daughter has short bowel syndrome. So when I got this surgery done, a part of me felt selfish because it's like, my daughter, you know, I almost lost her, and thank God she's still here. But I almost lost her because you need intestine to live.
Yeah.
So at an early age, not having all your intestines, it can be very tricky. But we're an adult age now, and your intestines grow with you as you age, and we have a ton of it now.
A lot.
So I felt kind of guilty because it was like, should I have this surgery? You know, knowing
Like,
what
I'm
my
throwing it
daughter
away.
went through. But at the same time, I knew that it would be beneficial for me if I want to live a long-lasting life for my child.
It's kind of a relatability thing too now.
So I knew a lot about the intestinal tract and stuff because I already had my prior, you know, kind of medical experience through my child.
Wow, that's deep.
So how, I don't want to use the word define because I feel like that's like such a strong word.
Definitive.
Yeah, but like how has like body dysmorphia defined or shaped, that's a better word, shaped like who you are?
So again, I wasn't always so insecure until I had my son, and then I suffered from postpartum, and I feel like suffering from postpartum is where I became insecure about my body and myself. But now I see it more where, like I was saying earlier, like I need to dress up, I need to do my makeup, I need to have my hair, I need to have my nails done. I try to, when we don't speak about our insecurities and we mask them, people don't see them.
What gets suppressed gets depressed.
Word.
So therefore, I started seeing a therapist because I'm like, you know, I say to myself, why am I not still happy? And you want to
I
feel
have what I
happy.
wanted.
I got what I wanted, but it's still not enough.
And it's like when you have insecurities, I gotta attack them before they attack me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I don't know. I just always feel, because I always relate back. I'm like, wow, like anytime I make a decision, I ask myself, am I willing to put in the work necessary to achieve this goal?
See, but I also feel like people don't realize the work that it takes. You know what I mean?
I'm realizing it now. You know, a lot of the times you think like, oh, I'm just going to have the surgery, lose the weight, and I'm going to look good.
That's it.
That's not it. You have to put the work. I will say this. So before getting gastric bypass, it has to be approved by your doctor. Your doctor has to give you a referral to see a gastroenterologist. Yeah, to see a specialist. So one of the things my doctor did, and it'll stick with me forever, because he said to me, he's like, it's very easy for me to sign this piece of paper, hand it over, and you know, you can go see the specialist. But he's like, that's not what you need. He's like, come back and see me in a month. I want you 5 pounds down. And I was like, all right. So I started working out. I was like, all right, I gotta lose 5 pounds before I go see this man, or he's not gonna give me this referral.
He doesn't think I'm serious.
So I went hard. I actually lost double. I lost 10 pounds on my own.
Yes.
And so he then said, all right, lose another 5, come see me in a month. And I'm like, I just lost 10. And
You told me 5 initially.
yeah, and then he's like, no, lose another 5 and come see me. And he's like, and I'll never forget, he was really old. He actually ended up retiring before I had my surgery. He said to me, he's like, I want you to remember that these are things you have to work for. He's like, I'm going to give you your referral. Don't stop working. Wow. And I didn't realize what he was really instilling in me was like, prepare yourself. Because if you think that the surgery is...
The hard work starts after
we
the
just
surgery.
started.
We're just hitting scratching the surface. Wow. Good luck. Here's your referral, but continue. Don't stop.
And that's the thing. Like a lot of people, like, oh, I want to be a professional athlete. Oh, I want to be a collegiate athlete. Oh, I want to be this. It's like, yo, y'all don't know what it takes.
It's
like
lot
mentally, physically, emotionally. Discipline. You like a lot of people like, do you really want this life? You know what I mean? Do you like, you see the glitz and the glamour and all this nice shit, but do you really want the behind the door scene? Like, yeah, you want to lose this weight, but you don't know what I have to do, not had to do, have to do to lose it and then keep it off. And
I mean, I think boxers have it really tough too when they have to meet weight.
Right.
Before a fight.
I mean, Kevin Hart says it all the time.
Discipline is crazy.
Yeah, everybody wants to be successful. Nobody wants to put the work in.
Oh yeah, I love that speech.
Yeah, that's why I was going back to anytime I make a decision, because I'm so stubborn with myself. if I made this decision, I'm sticking with it because I said I'm going to do it. So now everything that encompasses this decision, like I chose this. So I got to.
Speaking of celebrities, you know that Kanye West I think he had lipo before going on the Kardashian show because he said he didn't want the fans to ridicule him from the weight he had put on.
He was a little round at one point, and then he
had lipo. So it's not just women suffering; it's men too.
Oh yeah,
it's men too. It's like crazy.
There's something, Spencer, you said though, like I said I'm gonna do this, so I'm gonna stick to it, right? And it's like, yes, stick to your goals and yada yada yada, but like you gotta also remember to enjoy the process and like. And celebrate the small victories. You know what I mean? Because I think about like soccer so often that to me it was like big contract, which I never got, right? But then leading up to it, there was the national team. There was playing in India. There was playing here, doing this, doing that, meeting this person that like, yeah, I enjoyed it in the moment, but sometimes I look back and it's like, damn, I wish I would have lived in that moment just a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, say you might end up somewhere else, somewhere better, right? You might not always end up where you want to be. You might end up somewhere else, or you might have accomplished what you wanted just in a different way, but you didn't really enjoy it because you were so fixated on I gotta do this. And I think that's where like falling in love with yourself and accepting yourself and like
falling in love with the process.
And falling in love with the process really becomes a thing.
So I love actually working out. It's a stress reliever. And I tell my trainer, like if I'm having a bad day, he can instantly tell when I walk in, and he'll say to me, "Oh, you're mad? Okay, good. We're gonna use this to our advantage."
Right.
And he'll have me go hard, and I actually leave happy.
Yeah, because
to me, it's therapy. It's therapeutic.
For sure.
When I'm like sweating my ass off, and like when I get a good sweat and I feel like I'm dying as I'm walking out and my legs feel like jello, I'm like, okay, bitch. Like, you really,
I did that shit.
Yeah, like you really went hard. Or one thing about the gym I go to, so I go to a private gym and I go to DSP, the Dixon Performance. They actually like, there's a guy that just started about a month ago, and we've only crossed paths a few times. And there was one time I was working out, and I can hear him in the background. Oh, she's eating, yeah, like shit like that. I just be like, yeah, Like I am. You know, like my arms could feel like they about to like fall off, but I'm just like, nah. Like I need to hear that.
That's
right.
Jacob in the gym, but it's obnoxious.
And my trainer, yeah, let's go. Like you need that, and then it reminds me of when I played sports in high school. The coach, like, yeah, come on, like you know. It reminds me a lot of that. So
somebody told me the other day, right? We were talking about like relationships, right? And I think this might open another like conversation that we could dive into. But they were basically saying like you can't love somebody until you love yourself, right? And then my boy continued to say you have to date yourself. You get what I'm saying? And I was like, date myself? Why the fuck would I date myself? Like, yeah,
I bought flowers for myself today.
I do that all the time, do I not?
Yeah,
I post it a lot.
Right.
What?
I buy myself roses all the time.
Oh, for real?
Not even just roses, tulips, a mixture of flowers, but roses a majority of the time. And you know what's funny? My daughter said to me, "Mommy, why are you always buying yourself flowers? Why don't, shouldn't a man be buying you flowers?" And I looked at her and I said, "Baby, when you get older, you're gonna learn self-love." And I was like, and it's always better.
Right.
And I always say that I'll post them and I'll say like, "Oh, I treated myself to these beauties today," or whatever. Or if a man isn't gonna buy them, honey, go buy them for yourself. And I speak positivity into women doing that for themselves. Now, a man doesn't always have to buy you flowers, girl.
Right.
Go buy it, throw it in a vase, and put it on the table, make it look cute.
Right.
And I actually, every Valentine's Day, I take myself out fine dining.
Like alluding to that point of like, you don't need nobody else. You know what I mean? And like, if you want to do something, like do it for yourself, do it for the right reasons. But like, you got to get comfortable with yourself, whatever that looks like, whether you're big, tall, short, skinny, brown, blue, black, like whatever it is, you got to really like love yourself and get to know yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if you do have like body dysmorphia, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
Or first of all, what is it I'm feeling? And why do I feel this way? What makes me feel this way? So on and so forth, you know what I mean? And I think by like dating yourself and really getting to know yourself, you could kind of find out like, all right, boom, this is what's going on.
I feel if as long as you love yourself, you don't have to worry about being with the wrong partner, because a lot of the times that partner can't love you genuinely, or they'll you know, like if you feel like, oh, I'm too big, and they're not giving you that, you know, that positivity of like, no, you look good, or they're just like, well, go work out, do whatever. I feel like as long as you love yourself most, then you don't have to worry about what your partner thinks either.
Word.
So, don't you hate when you're driving around Hartford or just wherever you live and you see a beautiful brand new black car and you can just look directly inside of it? It's like they're just fishbowling.
Yo, that's wild, bro, because you just described Toothless, my brand new car. But I got somebody to fix that. Platinum Wraps. They got everything you need, from tints for your windows to wrapping cars and even caskets.
Oh, Platinum Wraps in Bloomfield, where basic is not an option.
Yeah, bro, they'll take care of you. And shout out to Platinum Wraps for being our official sponsor for this season.
We're talking about loving ourselves, right? And I forgot. I said it either in a future. No, this will be a past episode anyways. Yeah, I was talking about in one episode in that most people don't love themselves and they don't even know what like loving themselves 100% looks like. So when someone else comes in and like say you only love yourself 50% and they show you 35, like, well, shit.
That's it, yeah.
To them it's like 85%. Like, oh, this isn't that bad. So it's I think it's very interesting that, like I said, I'm gonna be on like this tightrope of like the body dysmorphia and like holding yourself accountable, just because I think it's just so close to like, all right, am I thinking about this too much, or am I thinking about it just enough in taking action? But yeah, no, the loving yourself, that stuck out. I'm sorry.
And that's like, we kind of started like hopping into relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because my thing is like, I could be dating somebody, right? Listen, babe, I love you. You're beautiful. I love you the way you are. But like, no matter how much I tell you that, if you don't believe it, regardless of what I say and do, it doesn't matter.
And so
That's right.
with that, and I 100% agree. So I was with someone, and their thing was they were into big women, but their social media said otherwise. Where, you know, you would catch them liking, you know, pictures of small petite girls, and so then it made you question, like, I thought you had a type, and so like, what's going on here? Am I not enough? Like, why do you even feel the need to like this? And her body's the complete opposite of mine.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I find myself questioning, like, what, you know, like, what is going on? So if I feel like if I sat here and look back at it now, I probably wouldn't have questioned myself so much, because I knew that I was an amazing woman despite my size. But because I was with this particular person, and they made me feel in the very beginning that they loved me no matter what my size was, but then made me feel insecure after. You know, I just wish I would have looked at it differently then. But at the time, it tied into me feeling even more depressed about my size.
Right. You said something that was interesting, right? So insecurities, not where do they come from, but is it more of a intrinsic feeling, extrinsic, or both? Is that a word? Did I say that right?
Yeah. Well, I think insecurity, like the first two in, you know?
Right.
Like
But
this
but that could also mean I'm feeling it inward.
Yeah, I think insecurities all come from inside. This is an internal thing. Again, like, always been like comfortable being a big nigga.
Right.
So like, but I know other guys my size, they just feel some type. Like I had to always talk to younger kids who were bigger. I'm like, yo, bro, listen, like go out, play some sports. Like, what do you like to do? Like, you can't just be playing video games, eating cupcakes. Like, you got to be active, right? It's okay to be a big dude. Women like big guys. It's like
There's chubby chasers.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So. But it's like, it's all about how you carry yourself too. If you carry yourself with confidence, listen, I know I'm big. I love myself like this. What up? Like there's nothing you can tell me that I don't know about me.
That is one thing I will say. When I was at my peak, like I was heavy, but I was still confident prior to me having my son and having the postpartum depression. Prior to that, I mean, how did I bag my son's father? He was shorter and a lot skinnier. He's like a toothpick.
Put that thing on him.
And I was a big, voluptuous woman. And that was all because of my confidence. That was all because of how I dressed myself. That was one thing I talked about earlier. I feel that if I didn't dress myself up, if I didn't feel sexy, when I did myself up, then that's where kind of like depression plays in, because then if you don't feel confident, you start to feel depressed about your weight. I mean, you see women, there's some women that sometimes you see them walking around in PJs outside and they're like big and just look nasty.
Yeah, like you can tell the difference, like the ones that wear PJs, because
a
like
confident plus size woman and then a woman that just
Doesn't
really
care.
lost it and doesn't care.
And that's the thing, like, you could be the skinniest person and not put together right, and you could be the biggest person
and be put together. I was always one of those.
It's about how you carry yourself.
One of those big girls that was put together.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all about how you carry yourself, and it's almost like fake it till you make it. Even if you're not feeling right that day, bro, like you said, put on that smile. Because, like, you really don't know who you might come across, who you're inspiring, who sees you. You know what I mean?
That's one thing I get a lot now. It's like a lot of people will DM me and be like, oh, you were beautiful then, you're still beautiful now. But even then, you have so much confidence and you still look so beautiful. Because the hair was given even when I was big. The hair, the nails, the everything. I was still very well put together. And so a lot of women would ask me, like, where do you shop? Where did you get this? A lot of when you are plus size, it's really hard to find clothes.
That's a fact.
It's really hard. At least nice clothes that are like, you want to
some
feel
shit
sexy.
You want to freak,
You don't want to be looking,
Like, I know this stops at large.
So a lot of girls would actually come to me for advice on where to shop.
Right.
And so I would give them, like I'd be like, oh, Torrid or Forever 21, or there's this, this website for plus size or whatever, where I would find clothes. And so they would be very grateful for that, because a lot of plus size women do struggle with finding clothes, and that's why a lot of them don't dress as nice.
So I'm just like taking it to your environment that you grew up in. Like, so like, where did you grow up? Were there other plus size women around you?
I mean, my whole family struggled with it. My mother struggled with her weight her whole life. My older sister, her weight's always been up and down.
Okay, so that, but then like now go to schools. You went to Prince Tech?
I went to Prince Tech for high school, yeah.
Okay. Were there other big girls? Like, was it
ever
a competition? Did you stand out?
There was always, I wasn't, I don't like the word popular. I was very known in high school. I played sports. I was very known. I was very known for someone that wasn't fucked with.
Unfuckwittable.
I wasn't really one of those females that you could really like approach on some, oh, what's good? And I never got that. But I did have a lot of girls that didn't like me because a lot of guys liked me. A lot of the guys that they wanted, and it was crazy because I was always so like, oh my God, why is he looking at me? Like I'm, this thick girl, like I'm thicker than her, she's like a lot smaller, more put together, and they didn't want that. They would see me, they would come watch my games just to, you know,
Just to see old girl in the.
see everything bounce around on the court, you know, when I was playing volleyball. So
Yo, listen. All right. So is insecurity?
I can't say I wasn't insecure in high school. I had my days. There were girls. One thing I can honestly say about myself is I've always been very curvaceous. So even when I was bigger, I always had a really small waist. Some girls don't have that. They're more like boxy, or they have more rolls. And so I feel that, did I have females that looked at me and probably was like, oh, you know, like, who does she think she is? Because she's more, you know,
Built different,
more put together.
Right.
Even though she's big. But that's just, I mean, I can't help that that's my body. I have my mom's body, thank God. Because I would have hated having my dad's body. But, you know what I mean? Like, so not everybody has that. So like in high school, I was confident, but I still had like bits of insecurities.
Got it. So do we grow up insecure, or is that something taught?
I think it's honestly, do you want to really know where I feel it stems from? It stems from your own family. You ever go to like Thanksgiving dinner? You know what I mean? Like, it be your own family.
And Spanish
Be your
people,
own people.
Spanish
Your
people
own
always
people.
point out the
Let me tell you
chichos.
something. You know what's crazy? Do you want to know where my weight gain actually started? I'd said earlier in the very beginning, I was a size 00. My dad lived in Puerto Rico with my grandmother, and my mom lived, you know, my mom had moved from Puerto Rico to Connecticut. Because me and my sister were both born out there, but raised out here. When I would visit Puerto Rico, my grandmother hated how skinny, like how small me and my sister were. My sister was always bigger, but not big.
More rice on the plate.
Yeah, so my grandmother, so here's the thing. She would make us oatmeal, give us, you know, in Puerto Rico, you eat the coffee with the, I mean, I'm 9 years old. What you giving me coffee for? But it's a tradition in Puerto Rico. You have your you get the bread with the butter.
Yep.
So she was stuffing us up. That's how me and my sister, my mom said, we moved to Puerto Rico for 3 months at one point. We lived with my grandmother for about 3-4 months. I did 3rd grade here, and I did 3rd grade over there. Actually, it was the time of my life, because I loved it. I got to experience that out there. But when I came back, my mom said she couldn't recognize us. She almost, I think she actually said she cried, because we had put on so much weight. And she was like, what happened to
And that's a kid.
As a kid. So my mom was like, what happened to my girls? Like, I had sent them to Puerto Rico looking one way, and they came back looking completely different. Since then, my older sister and I have always struggled with our weight.
Wow.
It'd be your own
well, because
It'd be your own people. And I love my mamita though, so I love my mamita. I forgive her. But, I mean, it really do be...
And I love my mom to death, but woman can put down in the kitchen, and she's one of 14. And she was the one that always cooks, so she just makes these huge portions. Yeah. She's from down south, like everything's sticking to the body. I'm like, I got plenty food. Like, I got so much food forever. Yeah. Leftovers.
I
mean, it makes it hard.
And at a young age, you just don't know any better.
No, and you just stuff in your
And
face.
you like it, yeah. So
yeah, like, this tastes good.
Yeah, you know
get
what's
seconds.
crazy? So a lot of parents don't actually know, because this is another thing, dealing with what I dealt with and my daughter.
Portion size?
Not even portion size. I mean, like, there's a lot of kids that suffer from obesity at an early age.
Word.
What parents don't know is that they can actually have their kids have gastric bypass. It is possible. My daughter's surgeon at CCMC does them for kids.
Interesting.
When you, like, let's say you're struggling with your weight in your teens, you could actually have gastric bypass early on and have it, like, you know, basically deal with it for the rest of your life, you know, working out, eating healthier, way before your adult life.
So I'm glad this came full circle, because there was a question I wanted to ask earlier. So would you recommend someone to do that?
100%.
At a young age?
Never getting be able to eat cheesecake, ice cream, living that.
And that's okay, because do you rather them be? I mean, it all depends on the person. Do you rather your child live a healthier, full life?
I think at a young age, correct me if I'm wrong, right? And this might sound fucked up, right? It's easier for a young person, right, to lose weight. So you have to, at the young age, make a conscious decision to change your lifestyle.
But we're speaking about kids who are suffering from obesity. There's kids that, like, you ever watched a Maury show when there's a toddler and he's like a big potato and he could barely move around? That is where you have to draw the line.
Who's responsible for that?
It's the parents.
Yeah, so
But if you can't get your kid, like once your kid has hit that rock bottom and you can't get your kid to work out and they're suffering from medical,
like they
they need an oxygen tank or they need a wheelchair to get around. I've seen kids in the little scooters at Walmart and it's like, dude, you're like not even like, how old are you? Why are you on the scooter? Because they're so big.
I should have laughed. That's crazy. If you really think
about it, so I was never that big growing up. Again, I did sports, I did things, I was active. Therefore, I never got to that point. But there are kids that are suffering from obesity that are past the point of no return.
Nah.
Those are kids that you have to nip it in the bud before they end up on 500, what is it, 500 pounds, 600 pounds? Yeah. And those are people that at that point, they're trying to have gastric bypass. That is what that show is about.
But see, I'm not a parent, but again, this comes back to like, that's the parent's responsibility to nip that shit in the bud. Yeah. And if the household... But
some parents don't even take accountability. The doctors then come in and take over. They'll get social services.
because the whole house needs to
it's bad.
Yeah, because the whole house needs to get their shit together, because I haven't seen many kids who've grown up in a healthy, active lifestyle and their parents are healthy and active that are obese, right? So like that's something that they saw and was passed down. My parents are older. So my parents are both 70 and 72. I'm 30. So like my parents were older, chilling. Huh?
I'm older than you.
Gang. So
I mean, people think I'm like 26.
You saw the little hair flip.
I would have never asked. But yeah, I saw my parents sitting down, relaxing. Like my mom had me on 42. Like nobody's trying to be running around with a little kid at that age. So I picked up like, oh shit, well, Mom Dukes could cook, and there's a lot of food. Yeah, I like playing with my friends, but when I'm in the house, I like to eat. And oh shit, I just got done playing ball. There's leftovers. Let me heat something up real quick.
You know, a lot of people, they eat out of boredom too.
Yeah, I believe it. That was probably
I've
me.
done it.
There's cakes and pies.
Absolutely.
But I say all that to say that stems down to the parents. Like, if people are gonna come in, like, listen,
it stems from the family.
Yeah, like y'all need to get your weight issue together. And we're gonna bring this down to like everybody running a mile every morning. Like, we doing shit.
I can honestly say I think I got lucky because my mom always struggled with her weight too. So my mom always like wanted to be in the gym, wanted to try to be active. She wanted to always try to lose some weight. So we always tried to cook healthy in the house. And we always tried to stay some way or some type of form active. Like, for instance, like I said, I put myself in sports in high school because I saw myself like, all right, I don't want to continue getting weight. And I kind of like this sport. I played it.
Kind of good.
No, I was very good.
Okay.
When I came
Talk
to
your shit.
volleyball,
My bad. Talk your shit.
when I played volleyball, I was really good, actually.
Word. Well, shit, we been chopping it up a little over an hour now. So what we do is we give our guests and ourselves 15 seconds of fame. So we got 2 cameras today. You can look at any camera.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, you could talk your shit about. It doesn't have to do anything with anything that we could just talked about. You could talk about your friends, your business, your kids.
We're gonna talk
you could
about
talk,
my business.
you know, drop your plugs, talk your shit, and then we will wrap it up. Okay. So we'll start with you, and then.
Oh, am I saying my name again and all
If you'd like.
All right, my name is Sharon Boltron. I run a baking business called Boltron Sweets. You can follow me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Miss Boltron, and if you follow me on there, you'll see cakes, workouts, me being a badass mom, and just a badass bitch in general.
Okay.
That was a dope ass 15 seconds, right?
Yeah, right. How do I follow up for that?
I just
First of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
always welcome back. Please come
this
back.
This was dope. If we have you back, could you bake something for
I'll
us?
definitely bake something for you
We
guys.
should. What?
So my 15 seconds of fame is it's okay to outgrow people. You didn't leave them behind. You left them where they're comfortable. So keep going.
That was
And, not everyone can come along for the ride. You can give unconditional love, but if they're not willing to receive it, that's on them.
Yo.
Now you follow up with that.
Listen, I don't have shit to say. Thank you for coming. Thank you to team for being here. Thank you guys for watching and listening, because I'm telling you guys, this is the best motherfucking podcast in CT, and we about to blow up, and y'all want to be with us, because if not, you're going to get left behind where you was comfortable, motherfucker. That's a wrap.